got it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
I saw Javier come up and I'm like, he does not look like a Kira to me, but
I don't look like a Carla.
no, and he doesn't look like Carla. And I was like, after I've met a male Jessica before, I'm not one to like redefine. Nice to meet you both. I'm Biniam.
Nice to meet you.
I've never noticed this little lovely community up here. This is my
Right?
first time
Yeah.
up here.
It's a nice little pocket.
I like it. Just a quick disclaimer at the outset here. I get my Uber riders to sing me opera while I drive them.
Okay.
I'm kidding, I don't do any such thing.
Sure,
You're like,
do what
how's
you
this
gotta
gonna go? Actually, do you know what? I lied. I have been this way from this direction, but not from that direction. I recognize his name right now. No, just a disclaimer, I do live stream on in my Uber, so I just don't want you to share with me any details about, you know, what you did last night by burning the body or whatever else, you know, that incriminates you. But yeah, this is a tremendous day for flying instead of yesterday.
Yeah,
Remember
it's so
yesterday?
foggy.
All day, out of like nowhere, right? I was like, what just happened? So the sunrise this morning, I think, is going to be promising. Are we going domestic or international?
International.
With which airline?
WestJet.
Okay. Hopefully somewhere warmer than here.
I live in San Francisco, so who knows?
Okay,
It's a little
West
warmer.
Coast.
A little warmer.
Although, like this
Much
trip,
windier.
windier, did you say?
Yes.
I've never been there, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, much windier.
That's where they have that bridge.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And the fact that you both are heading off together makes me think it's not business, but like for fun.
Both.
Both end. Okay. That's better than just business. That's awesome. Now, when I saw the sun this morning, or the sunrise, yeah, I did just a relief sigh saying, we're good for today.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday was warm too, but it just was.
As long as you can see the sky, right? Yesterday you
Right.
couldn't see downtown. You couldn't see any buildings.
You couldn't see any of the tops of the buildings either, right? It was just kind of crazy that way. Yeah.
It's a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, it's been an amazing year so far, like especially with that extended fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the sunset the day before yesterday, though. We might
Oh, I
get
think I
some-
know what you're talking about. Yes.
It was like kind of pinkish reddish.
Yes.
And yeah. I was driving out to Cochrane. I don't know if you've ever driven that road out towards
Yeah.
Cochrane. And it's just a beautiful like vantage for the mountains, right? So the mountains on the horizon, the sunset as well, the amazing massive sky. That's a
good drive.
tremendous combination. On a good drive, exactly. Yeah. What are you both looking forward to most on this trip?
The flight, so I can sleep.
It's too early in the morning. It's a nice option to be able to sleep on a flight, though. How long is the flight from here to there?
4 hours?
4 hours ish? Okay. Okay. Which almost tells me that you nap really well.
Yeah.
See, I don't. Like, if I try to take a nap in the afternoon, Carla, I'm down for like a good 8 hours kind of thing. So like napping like short term, yeah, it's something I don't do very well. So I'm happy for you. But then I've also heard that people, not most, but a lot of people have difficulty sleeping, like just in general. So when I hear that, it makes me so grateful because I don't struggle to sleep the way many people do. So
Yeah, people take like supplements and do all those things too to try to fall asleep.
Yeah, I struggle to wake up.
oh, I never considered that challenge, but you'll forgive me if there's not much sympathy there.
So tell us about your channel.
I would love to. Okay, so it started off 5-ish years ago when I started driving with Uber. And at that time, Carla, I was teaching, which I thoroughly enjoyed. However, I thought I'll do Uber, part-time, and I knew I'd enjoy it, but I didn't anticipate I would enjoy it as much as I did. So I thought, wow, this is such an interesting setting. A space where, as much as I love teaching and the students I get to invest in this role here, I get to meet the world, basically, coming through my vehicle. Amazing, right? So I made a huge decision then, and I put my contract on hold, and I started driving Uber full-time. And it was really like a fantastic experience. And as I was doing it though, I started noticing that I kept getting some really noteworthy responses from the people that I got to ride with, where they enjoyed the ride, which was my concern, but they enjoyed it in such a way that it seemed like they were really profoundly impacted by, the time we spent together, the things we talked about. And I was really relishing and enjoying the whole experience. But I started thinking, like, the way they're describing most of their other Uber rides in contrast to this one here, I wonder if there isn't something maybe that I'm doing potentially that might encourage other drivers or, give them some ideas of what could be in their experience. So I thought, let me start making some videos with consent, of course, just so I can share my ideas and my experiences with other drivers, perhaps. I didn't want to sound presumptuous, like I knew what I was doing, but more so to say, here's some things that I find really working well for me. So as I started sharing those videos, I was expecting maybe like a good decade before anyone ever found these resources and were helped from them. But I was surprised when it kind of took off unexpectedly, and not only drivers were watching, but like so many people all around the world. They were very enthusiastic about what they were consuming on the videos that I was posting. And it was really, really neat experience because it kind of moves the conversation into a different sphere of just what amazing human connection could look like, amongst strangers. Just conversations that are worthwhile having, genuine engagements. It was just the kind of thing that brought tremendous encouragement and inspiration, especially through the pandemic, if you remember as well. And it was really, really sweet and neat. So at some point, my riders, no, not my riders, but my followers online, they started saying things to me like, Binyam, Uber's gonna try and like sponsor you or get a hold of you or do something with you. And I said, honestly, I feel like I do my research really well, and I'm nowhere near the kind of size to ever be noticed by like a huge entity like Uber. But I was most surprised, Carla, when that happened, when they did reach out and say, we've been watching your videos, by the way. And they said, we really, really like what you're doing, and we want to do some things together. And of course, this even put me more on the map as like Uber sort of sent media to like have conversations and interviews with me as well. And it was a really neat experience, and that even increased my platform a lot more. But it was really neat because the conversations that I was having with the folks online who were engaging with my content, it was like kind of were conversations worthwhile having, especially in relation to how can we experience these human moments when we have those opportunities in unexpected ways, right? And then over time, I started noticing that I was being asked a lot more, informally of course, but I was being asked a lot more questions on the technical sides. There's some conversations and controversies, going around what it means to be an employee versus like your own boss, that kind of thing. And so it was moving to a different realm, those conversations, that I was like, I have to do more work to like try and keep up with this conversation, but my interest is more over here, kind of thing, right? I took a couple of years off just because I started seeing the unexpected impact that my work was doing online, and one of the things I love doing is bringing credit and value to the places where I work at, right? So I didn't have any concern about that going on here, but I was noticing that there's a passive shift happening where my story was people would recognize, like here in the city, for example, they'd see me and be like, you're that Uber guy, and there's just this way that I wear a bow tie, if you haven't noticed, like all the time. So there's ways that people can kind of like start relating to you and saying, you're this because of this. And one of the things that I like is being able to tell my own story, right? To say that I don't mind the kind of value of brand and so on. Isn't that? Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. Sorry, but all that to say that I really also value being able to say, if I were to have the opportunity to put my finger on where I feel the primary point should be, I'd like to have that ability to tell that story. So I took a break the last 3 years from Uber. I took on a different role here in the city at a warehouse. And from the moment I started with them, I told them, just so you know, I've got some grand plans I want to finish in this world. And I'm going to go back and drive with Uber. So I'm only here for a short time. So do that what you will. So they're like, yeah, great. And I mean, I enjoyed working with this company, this warehouse. It was such a good experience that they said, Binyam, could you come and join us in management and just give us a bit more time? I know you said only this amount of time. I said, you guys are amazing, of course. And so I finished that commitment a few months ago, when this past summer I'd taken those 3 years wrestling. And this is the funny part, is I do this really well for other people when I hear their story. And I'm like, it seems like you're really good at this area. And it's almost like I'm able to help confirm a lot of things where they wish to be in life and give them that kind of encouragement. But when it came to myself, it took me like 2.5 years, literally, like to figure out what is it that I'm trying to do in all this. And so I was able to figure that out over the last 2-3 years and make some plans of how I wanted to re-engage. And this time in re-engaging, not only making videos again still, but also to also give a bit more in the live streaming world. Like when I made videos before, always with consent. Consent's a huge part of what I do online, because I mean, when I'm sharing people's stories and so on, it's a big deal. Right? So what does that look like though when I'm live streaming though? When I create videos, usually that would be made at the end of the time together in the recording, saying is this a yes or no kind of thing, and really encouraging the no answer. But when you're like already on air kind of thing, how do I safeguard the privacy of my riders while still sharing these experiences? And thing that I was like, this bring more attention to. And so that's been the re-engagement this time around. And I've been shifting from my platforms, where before I was primarily on TikTok. I was on all TikTok primarily. This is where I built up quite the following. And this time shifting to YouTube primarily, and wanting to make that mark, in essence, alongside Uber, to say, here's what I'd love to leave behind in this world that could encourage and inspire others to go and do likewise in their own settings, wherever they're at. Like the kind of goals and ambitions I have that I'm striving towards in time, is just kind of geared to say, is there more of this kind of beautiful moments and could experience, not by trying to like connect with who's who in society, but more so by seeing the who's who in their own neighborhoods and in their own settings, in their communities, in not looking for how to like amass that kind of like grandiosity and how we word a social escalator in essence, but more so to say, you've got some pretty amazing heroes right next door, from your barista to the janitor to your accountant to your grandparents. If we were just to be able to slow down in those moments that we get and enjoy learning a little bit about someone when they share the sacred part of themselves, saying, here's how I see the world, and that was a long answer to your very short question. But well, thank you, I appreciate that.
It's inspirational, that's for sure.
I'm inspired by it. and that's what keeps me going too. And especially in this live streaming setting here, it's also been neat because I've been able to share more experiences than I was able to before. Because in my recordings, all my followers ever saw was those who said yes, but they never saw what it looks like when someone says no. And when I create that space for them to say no, and encourage them to say that no, and how to respond to a no, right? And how to celebrate a no answer, because not everyone's the same way. Not everyone's designed to be like plastered on the engine or whatever kind of thing, right? And even a lot of those stories and experiences that I never would have asked for permission because it was just too personal. You know, there's just a lot that I came across. I'm like, this is really sacred again, but no one needs to know this. Like, it's just, yeah. But in this setting here where, do you smell skunk?
Yeah.
I just smell it. It's very, very noticeable. But yeah, like in this setting here with the live stream and just that disclaimer up front saying, hey, just so you know, this is the setting we're in, so please be cautious. There's nothing off limits. It's just be aware of what your comfort level is, and it's been really sweet. And so I feel I've been experiencing tremendous richness in these spaces that I get to take up and share with others as well.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Congrats, you got that going.
I appreciate it. It's
Definitely got the personality for it.
oh, thank you. You just caught me on a good hair day, that's all. I'll give you my card just so you can see and follow up if you're so we can find. It tells you a bit more specifically what I'm into there, but we said WestJet, didn't we?
Yes.
Cool. Our ride was far too short, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you know me a little bit better now than when you first came in.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Let me help you grab your bags in the back, okay? One of my straps caught onto your bag, so it was not letting go. Hello again, friends. That was ride number 2 or 3. I think that's ride number 3 today. That was my 3rd ride today. Goodness, look at us go. I think I'm just queued up for another ride here. And let's see, how much time do I have to get there? Just over an hour away. Yeah, so I might get another ride or 2 in before the next reserved ride that I'm committed to. But I will catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the recording, again, thank you for taking the time to watch. See you soon.